Graziella, ciao. Thank you very much for your patience and thank you for being able to join us online. Of course, labor mobility is of importance to both the host and destination countries in the economic recoveries. And with the aging population across Europe, the EU launched 2023 as the Year of Skills. How can we address the currently existing barriers, concerns of countries of destination to ratify or to enter into related agreements that promote labor mobility? And while the EU Commission has been active in bringing together relevant stakeholders to better implement relevant interventions that promote labor mobility in Egypt, how can international organizations, networks, and expertise be mobilized to promote relevant governance policies and programs towards the Talent Partnerships Initiative? The floor is yours, Graziella.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me well?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, hello. Thank you very much. First of all, thanks for having accommodated the request to participate online. I would like really to compliment EduTech for the excellent organization of the event, and in particular for having hosted this specific discussion on migration, linking this to the future. This shows, and I would really like to hook with what Shahira has just said, that one of the takeaways of the TAM is really to look at the labor mobility not in isolation and not as a distinct aspect from where in one side we have technical and vocational training and on the other side we have migration, but as an organic support so that would facilitate mobility schemes. I would like to go back to your question on the Year of Skills. Now, a few days ago, there was a mission in Egypt on the European Training Foundation, and basically they have flagged that for Europe, there is already a system that is being used in terms of skills qualification, and that could be a very good basis of departure. So when we are thinking about setting up qualification schemes, I think that building upon something that it is already an investment in the EU skills panorama could better help in ensuring labor mobility, because we know very well that one of the main bottlenecks that were addressed during the current TAM was the fact that basically there was a big bottleneck on the skills recognition. So that is something that needs to be looked at in the future as a building block and the lessons learned from the past. I would like here to introduce a concept that is being discussed currently at the level of the Commission, and it is called talent partnerships. Now, talent partnerships embeds this concept of going beyond the pure labor mobility and looking at all the ancillary supports that make labor mobility possible. When we consider the investment that we have put in the region through the TAM in the past 3 years, we have a glass that it is half full, but the half empty glass is that at the end, the total number of mobilities combined remain very limited compared to the future needs of the European labor market. We are speaking about 250 mobilities in overall, with about less than 50 coming from Egypt. So if we are looking for future models, I think that maybe we need to look, and that I would hook to the presentation that was made earlier on by the colleagues of the EBRD, on a more sustainable and upscaled processes, because we should basically, to be able to meet those demands, certainly to have more mobilities. And for this reason, I mean, I understand that the private sector is being, let's say, quite proactive. I understand that there are schemes that may bring to a certain number of mobilities to Finland. I think that for the next step of the talent partnerships, we need to explore a little bit better on doing this not only from a developmental point of view, but also looking at the interest of the private market, because the private market is not having a kind of assistentialist nature, but it's looking at the business profit. So that is why, you know, having more workers means having a win-win approach. Now, the good news about this, when we speak about talent partnerships, and when you are speaking, you had a question on the agreement, is that Egypt has been embedded into the talent partnership schemes. And hopefully, through the discussions that we have been having with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs a few weeks ago, the idea would be basically to sit together and have a talent partnership roundtable in the month of May as a means to sit down and do what Dr. Saber said, basically, those are our needs. Let's see what are the needs in Europe. Last but not least, I think that there is a very important point that was raised on the fact that the system needs to be flexible, especially in an area and a world where the needs can change quite quickly. But we will still need to have a framework if we want to favor the mobilities, that is basically the framework that the EU and the EU member states have been developing. In terms of agreements, basically, I would like to mention that as far as Egypt and the EU is concerned, there are a number of, we have the migration dialogue that embeds aspects of labor mobility between the EU and Egypt, but there are a number of bilateral agreements. There is an agreement with Germany, there is an agreement specific on labor mobility with Italy since a number of years. Lately, there was an agreement signed on agricultural workers with Germany. And we all know that last week there was the Czech Prime Minister that in his discussions with the President of the Egyptian Republic mentioned again the possibility of getting within the labor mobility schemes, especially in the hotellerie section. But we really need to do a little bit more to bring technical discussions at the political level, because the nexus between the two is what will ensure that in the next phase, Egypt can be more on the front line than what has happened in the past. I think that I have exhausted my timing, and I'll give you back the floor. very much.
Thank you so much, Graziella.